extraordinary how the microphones on these things pick up. I'm now quite a distance from the other machine, and it will pick up. So here we are on St. David's Day, no less. Jolly old Google's got a flying dragon. They are naughty. I wonder if that's because I'm in St. Albans, Britain, England, obviously. Hertfordshire, England, 1st of March, 2020. Light bulb. Very bright in my corner. Another one of these early. Well, actually, I haven't slept in fact at all. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Never mind. Old boots on. Needed water wings last week. We certainly need them in the west of Britain, Ireland and Wales and up north and everything. England, not just up north actually, the River Severn is where a lot of it's happened. So, here we are and here we are. I'm alive. A man of 63 years old. I've just looked up Confucius. He made it to 71, I think. This fellow Joe Biden in America, he was vice president for years. I think he's 77. If he became president, he'd be blooming 80-something. That's absurd. An 80-year-old can't take the stresses of being the President of the United States of America. That's ridiculous. I mean, who cares what I think, but oh, please. Crikey Moses. Boris Johnson has, with his inamorata, conceived a child out of wedlock at number 10, no less. No wonder he hasn't been going anywhere. He's being attentive to his bit of fluff on the side, really. Third wife. Still won't admit to all his children. And we're meant to trust this man. As Prime Minister, Priti Patel's booted out had booted out the head of the Home Office, the permanent secretary, whose name I don't even know. What a surprise. 35,000 staff he's in charge of. You really would think they've got better things to do. I'm waiting for her to fall, actually. Amber Rudd had to quit, didn't she? Ha! Over the Windrush thing in 2018. I just take an interest in these things. My interest is eclectic. It's the world I live in. I'm in England, Britain, perforce, quite frankly. Anywhere but here. Ah. They're reporting the first death in America of this coronavirus, and it's popping up elsewhere. Well, I had a long conversation with a Christian chap in town in St. Albans on Saturday afternoon. He turns up pretty regularly by the clock tower. I don't even know his name, actually. And we both sort of agreed, really, that it's sort of God sending his warning signs to the world. And they were talking of £210 billion wiped off the stock market. Billion, 1,000 million, American billion. An English billion is a million, but never mind. A correction, they call it. And it's going to bounce back. But will it? You know, Britain is planning for potentially 1/10 of the whole population of Britain. That's 66, 67 million human souls. 1/10 of that, that's, shall we say, 67 million, at a death rate of 1 in 100 is what I hear. They don't really know. Well, I think that makes, I haven't entirely worked that out, but almost a third of a million human beings. I think that's right. 67 and 4 noughts, 670,000 human beings. A third of a million. 2/3. Yeah, funny, I had a mathematical brain. I was rather the best physics student, you know. Maths, never my strong subject. 1 + 1 = 3. Well, there's God, you see. That's why 1 + 1 = 3. Silly me. Blossom's out already. So, as a Christian, where are we all headed for? We're headed for the end times, man. I'm reckoning. I'm only 63. My mother made it to 95, so that would give me longevity on my mother's side. My father died of a heart attack at 59, so if we divide the two, 60 plus 35 equals 17. That takes me up to 80, I think. Ha! 10 more than my 70. I haven't even lived them yet. Ha! You mustn't weaken. Again, with this chap, we agreed, and it's there in the Gospel. Christ spoke to one of the men on the crosses with him, just before they all perished, their human bodies, and Christ said, "I will see you in heaven." So you can be drawn into God's embrace in a moment, because Christ said so. They've identified an explosion of a Big Bang type of a black hole, and they reckon it's 15 times the size of our galaxy, not our planetary sun and our little place, but the whole of the galaxy in which we are. That's how big it is. Is. No, time's a curious thing. I think I got it right. It's 370,000 million light years. Well, that's God too. And you know, what happened before the Big Bang? Well, that was God too. Anyway, you've still got to do your homework, you see. This is a Woody Allen film. Little boy refuses, at 6-year-old, refuses to do his homework because the teacher told him the world's coming to an end in 4 or 5,000 million years' time. So there's no point, really, is there? Jewish. It's a Jewish joke, no? Woody Allen, you know, is Jewish. God's chosen people. Right. Enough rambling. I hope to get some sleep, but I might not. Anyway. Trusty staff. Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all people, a light for revelation to the Gentiles, and for the glory of thy people, Israel. Amen. Those are the words of Simeon. He waited and waited and waited to see Christ, and he saw him at the temple. I think it's in Luke. There we go. My little altar. There's light in my house. L'chaim, there's light.